Alright, this video is basically about me venting of some sort. But honestly, so as of yesterday, I've decided to go back to the hospital where I attended the day hospital program to tell them how I'm doing right now, and they were pretty thankful for telling me this. They do appreciate feedback, and they do appreciate people coming to them to tell them how they're doing. So yeah, I do think this has in many ways helped me. I mean, the time after the day hospital program has been a bit turbulent, you know, but I remember like going to that hospital yesterday, and some people were asking me to guide someone somewhere, so I helped her and stuff like that, even though it's not like volunteer stuff. I mean, I normally just came here to just, you know, tell them how I've been feeling. Since when I was going to the Calgary Tower, I met one of the people who were at the day hospital program with me on the C train, and he told me you should visit them again, and that's what I did. That is what I did. And honestly, I'm really, really glad that I did that. I mean, and I know, like, one thing I know is wanting to do volunteer work at the hospital does require, like, an application to go through if you want to do this as a working experience and stuff like that. Because I notice, like, hanging around people that have plenty of things to talk to and helping people is pretty fulfilling. And honestly, compared to just staying at home all the time doing nothing, that's no way to live. That is just no way to live, honestly. Just doing nothing, honestly, home at nothing. So you get bored pretty easily. Kind of, your mental state kind of goes out of whack, and that. Now, don't get me wrong, getting a job can also have effects on your mental state too. I mean, but yeah, I was thinking of like I've applied some volunteer applications at 5 different hospitals. One in Airdrie, one in Airdrie, four in Calgary. To and if they don't accept me, that's fine. That's well within their rights. I mean, you know, but at the end of the day, I feel like it would be much more fulfilling if I were to actually do some tasks on making other people's lives better. Because, let's face it, we live in a pretty damning world. We live in a pretty hellish regime, hellish, not regime, I mean hellish world. And the feeling that you've helped someone make their lives better just makes you feel good. It just makes you feel good, okay? I know there's some people who like to do helping people for clout, like Ruben Sim, that asshole, Schleb, that asshole. Like they do that. They pretend to help people for clout. All right, you don't announce your statistics when you help people. That just means you're doing it for clout. Most people, when they help people, okay, you know what they do? They just don't announce it. They just let the other people speak about them. That's how it's supposed to go. supposed to let the other people speak about you. Okay? I did volunteer applications for 5 different hospitals. Honestly, because I just wanna, I just want a feeling of what it could be in volunteering and helping and stuff like that, just in case if I really need to get a job or something. But the volunteer work I'm doing, there's no pay within that. You don't get any money for that. You're just helping making people's lives better. And honestly, not making money from this doesn't matter to me anyways. I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for that. Okay? Only wanted enough money I have to sustain myself. I do like to do traveling sometimes, but again, with the Strait of Hormuz and stuff like that, oil prices are pretty high. And they're running out of fuel for many of them. There's like this one of our relatives, they just wanted to, or one of our friends, they just wanted to like go to Hungary, but they're thinking of canceling their trip to Hungary because they're afraid that the plane would not have enough fuel to get them back to Canada. You know, there's that. I was thinking of going to Japan like next year, maybe, but I don't know about that. Especially with the Strait of Hormuz closing, and a possible pandemic. It's pretty unlikely. So what a better time to just actually experiment with what you can do. All right. Staying in your bedroom all day, hating yourself is not the life to live. If you can actually do work that fulfills you, then it's definitely worth it. You know, it's definitely worth it to try. I mean, I know getting a job nowadays is extremely hard, especially in the late stage capitalist America. But here's the thing, like, it's my visit at the hospital that I went to yesterday that inspired me to maybe actually probably be a volunteer at their hospital and actually help with the patients there, actually make it better for them, just to tell them also that we're all in this together, that you're not alone. And yeah, they and the volunteering thing has gone quite. There's plenty of demands for the volunteers, obviously. I mean, within the next 4 weeks, I may get a response whether there's going to be like an interview, so I probably may have to dress nice for the interview to show them that I'm actually dedicated to actually doing this. Again, it's not a guarantee that I would be a volunteer, but it's just something I wanted to do. It's just something I felt I wanted to do. Maybe expand some horizons, maybe actually do something better in my life, to make things more fulfilling for me. That's just what I want. I just want my life to be more fulfilling. And if I can't do the volunteer, if they refuse to let me volunteer, that's fine. That's well within their rights. That's well within their rights. And then again, like when I remember, like when I wanted to ask a music station to play my music and they refused, at least they gave me with a respectful response saying, I don't think your music's kind of the type that may be able to be played on the stations, but I do really appreciate the kind of music that you make. It's interesting, it's like that, and that gives me an insight. I make music, and it's rather too strange to be on mainstream stations. like outsider music, but people have called my music outsider music, but that's just only emboldens me to experiment even more with whatever I want to innovate in the music industry and stuff like that. I used to get paid for my music by putting it on streaming services, but like again, I pulled them off of streaming services after knowing what Spotify was doing behind my back. And I can't trust streaming services because if they're using money for war, why would I want to support that? Now, with the money that I get, I mean, it allows me to explore what I can do with my life, with what I feel like wanting to do. And I was wanting to make my life a bit more useful and stuff like that, but there's a lot of shady things in industries and stuff like that nowadays. Like, I don't want to work for a company that has absolute contempt for me. Okay, if I want to work with some more smaller business or just something that's actually there that does not manipulate the market or manipulate people and makes everything shittier. Okay, all right. Like there's a bunch of billionaires that just Elon Musk, this motherfucker just wants to be the world's first trillionaire. Instead of maybe sending it to the poor, okay, like what does he have? $800 billion. You could just send like 800 of them to like the rest of the world. No, I mean 100 to them. Fuck me, 100 to them to the rest of the world. $100 for each person living in the world. These billionaires, like again with the United States, they say they can't pay for healthcare, they can't pay for roads and other stuff like that, but yet they have all the money for fucking war. It's stupid. These billionaires always like to make people's lives worse. They're fucking crony. They're they're despicable. They're malicious. Okay? If I want to work a job, I don't want to work for companies that exploit other people. That's not what I want to do. And I don't want to be a slave to companies that exploit other people. Okay? But like I said before, the volunteer applications I've sent out to like 5 different hospitals within my reach, is that I could, I could maybe make people's lives better, you know, maybe exchange something and make others feel for each other more. Because that's what I've been experiencing when talking to people at the hospital. They share some experience, we get to know each other better, and we get to understand more. That's the point. I also like doing work and other fulfilling things to help them and then exchange stuff with them, information with each other, That is something I like. That's something that just feels right into my interest. That's just what it is. Okay? As much as all this bullshit in the world tempts me to be a bad person, don't be a bad person. No, it's much better to be a better person, a more person doing something that's fulfilling to them, helping other people, and yeah. Okay? That's just what I want to do, basically. And if my application don't get accepted, then again, that's fine. I can always look at doing something else. I can always look at doing something else. So, yeah, but I do feel like I have enough dedication to actually do something like this. Because if it's something to break up the monotonous cycle of being alone, isolated all the time, I take it. I take it, man. I mean, I know when I went to school, like school can be boring and stuff like that, but honestly, you get to meet many different people at school despite the fact that school is often, well, it depends. If you're bullied at school, yeah, that's not a good experience. But I wasn't bullied at school. The only real bullies in my life are people from kiwi farms. And even then they don't talk about me anymore. But yeah, I want a everybody wins scenario. I want an everybody wins scenario. A win-win scenario. If I were to volunteer and help people at the hospital, not only would it be a win scenario for me, it would be a win scenario for them. So, and like I said before, I know with volunteer work you don't get paid, but that's not the point. I don't do it to get paid. I already have enough to financially stabilize myself for the time being, so I still have plenty of time to actually explore my opportunities. So yeah, I mean, staying at home doing nothing, that's just not the life to live, honestly. You need to break that up with something that's more meaningful.